you just don't know how you're going to feel about parenting until you become a parent. And I had this idea when I was younger that it's like, I'm going to be fine. Like, I'm going to be totally okay with just, leaving my kids with grandma while I go work. Like, I'm just going to be okay with that the rest until they leave my house, right? This is what I thought. I'm just going to have a very, nice career, and whatever I chose to go to college for. And I thought that was going to be fulfilling for me. And it wasn't until I had my kids that I realized, like, damn, I really don't like to be told. I really don't like for someone else to have so much control over my life that if I wanted to go pick up my kids early from school or they have an activity, I have to ask someone else for that permission. I didn't like that at all. I still don't. At this point, I have a very understanding, boss, thank God. And I don't feel like I have that issue at the moment. But still, I don't like the fact that if I was to leave the current job that I'm in, wherever I go, still, I have to ask for permission to do things with my kids.
Yeah.
And then, now I see the value in being a more present parent. I see how you can try to be the best parent you can be, but, where I live, New York, it's very difficult. Everybody has their own things going on, and most people don't have a community or the grandparents or the aunties and, around because they have their own thing going on. And I don't blame them because it's difficult. Life is difficult. Everyone's trying to figure it out here. And so unless you come from like a wealthy background where you have grandparents that they're like,
retired.
Laid back and they're like, don't worry, I'll take care of the kids, and, that they're not worried with their own problems. It's difficult for you to just let go completely because you need to be present. You need to be aware of what your children are consuming on these tablets, if they have phones, on TV. So now as a parent, I feel like it's crucial for you as a mom to be able to be present.
Yeah.
That's why now if I meet a new parent, if I was to give them an advice, I would say, I would never tell them not to have kids because I think kids are a blessing for your family. But I would say, if you're in your early 20s, you're not in a rush. Yeah. There's no rush to have kids. Like, find someone that sees the value in family just like you. Make sure you find a provider man who's okay with that. And make sure that whenever you guys are ready to have kids, like make sure that for a year, not even, for like 2-3 years, that your partner can hold down the household so that you can be a present mom for at least 2 to 3 years for that baby who's going to need you.
Yeah.
And for as much as you may think that you may not want to be that person, you don't know how you're going to feel again when that baby is here with you. Like, all of a sudden, like, you get this sense of, I'm responsible for everything that this, and it's like, that before they get here, but it's something you just can't explain.
It's not even just responsible. It's like responsible and also like you want to do everything you possibly can, like, for that.
Right. And then there's also such a thing as postpartum depression. You don't know how you're going to feel after you give birth. You need a sense of community. So make sure that when you are about to give birth, you have people around you that can, even if it's just one person, that can like show their support for you whenever you may need it. Because it's tough. It's tough to become a new mom. And let's say you are one of that percentage of the women who come down with like postpartum depression and not have anyone around you to lean on. Yeah. Like, and then in that picture, there's a newborn. But
you also have to, like, if you are that person, like, you also have to realize that sometimes people just don't know that you are going through it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you need to like have someone around that, can maybe keep an eye on you, but also like realize if you are going through that, you have to be vocal about it. And I know it's going to be hard because when you're in depression, you don't want to talk to anyone. Like, you don't want to tell anyone your problems, but you have to. Why? Because now you have to think some human, some little baby, right, depends on you at this point, right? Especially when you just gave birth. And your energy, like babies feel that.
Yeah.
So not to make you feel guilty, but make sure that you are seeking the proper care. Make sure that if you don't, maybe you don't feel like you have anyone around, God forbid, you know, or you don't feel comfortable talking to your family members, make sure you're at least seeking help from professionals, you know, whoever your OBGYN is, make sure you're being honest and you're telling them, I don't feel okay.
Yeah, because it's also challenging that, you know, you do want to depend on somebody, but that person might also have their own problems. So it's like,
and they're not going to know.
Yeah. So it's like, if that person is also going through a lot of stuff and then you go and you dump all your stuff, that person could be in a situation where they're trying to figure out themselves. And it's like, damn, how do I help you? And I can't even help myself.
No. And sometimes we lie. Like I'm guilty of that. Like sometimes, you know how people in passing, oh, how are you? And you're like,
I'm
good,
great. Yeah.
I'm good. Right. But you know, you're not.
Yeah.
And so then, you know, down the line, we might feel, you know, resentment because, oh my God, nobody was there for me. But was nobody really there for you? Or were you not even a little bit open to like telling people exactly how you were feeling? Sometimes we just need to let it out. Yeah. We just need to talk about it. We just need to say exactly how we feel. Like people are not mind readers.
For sure. Another thing that they don't tell you about parenting is that worrying is the new constant state. Do you feel like that's true?
Ooh.
I think so. Like it don't even have to be like some crazy, I'm worrying about something, but you are always worrying about something.
Well, yeah, because you just have more responsibility. But on that same note, I can say that while you can be worrying, right, about something, they can also remove your worry, if that makes any sense. Like, I could be in my thoughts home, you know, while everyone is at school, my husband's at work, and then everybody arrives, you know. And it's like all of a sudden my daughter is like so happy about her day in school. And Armani is like talking about something that happened in his classroom. And it's like they bring me back to the present.
Yeah.
They force me to be in the present, which is, that's why sometimes I say, like, sometimes some people can talk about, you know, like, oh, having kids being such a negative thing. But sometimes I question, like, even when, let's say you're a little depressed about something, right? Which might be meaningless, right? But you're just in your head. They could bring you back to the present moment, like instantly. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like all of a sudden you get out of your head. And it's like, what am I even thinking about, you know? Yeah. So.
And now that you mentioned that, it's kind of like connecting back to what I said earlier about, like, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. And it'll be like those times that I'm like, have so many things in my head. And like, you know, let's say the kids want to play Jenga or Uno. And it's like, right now in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm in a different planet right now.
Yeah.
And they want to play Uno. And I'm like, you know, sometimes, of course, we'll say yeah, and then sometimes it's kind of like, I don't feel like playing right now. But what's the right thing? It's like,
there is no right thing. I just feel like don't make your kids feel like they're not important to you. Like, make sure your kids know that they're important for you.
But I think they know that. I think, like, I don't doubt that our kids know that. No, it's more like our inner.
No,
like,
but there's
like our inner thoughts.
From conversations I've heard from other people, I feel like some people may not understand how much or how important your attention is to them, right? And so for some people, I can even say it from when I was growing up, they're in their head, they're just like, I'm feeding them, I'm providing everything that they need, they have a roof over their head, they're safe, they don't need my attention, like, you know, but they do, like, even if it's not 24/7, I know we can't, you know, be giving our attention 24/7, and if you can, great, but that's almost impossible for most parents. Even if it's just in the morning time or in the nighttime or sometime in the afternoon that you like take out and like ask them how was your day and listen to them and what they have to say, and you know how they're their new friends at school, you know, are doing, and, you know, how they feel about it. Even if it's just those little things, just making sure they know, like, I hear you.
Yeah,
I know what you're like. Oh my God, now you're into ballet. Oh, now you're into playing soccer. Oh, cool. Like, are you into art now? What that? You're getting really good at art. Like, just making sure that they understand that they are important to you.
Yeah,
because sometimes parents could feel like I'm doing everything for them. Like, what else do they want from me?
Yeah, because even when, let's say I pick them up from school. Like, I always ask when I get in the car, oh, how was school? Like, Armani, how was school? Zena, whatever. We talk on the way home. And then when they get home, like, you ask them, like, oh, how was school? And then, you know, Zena will start talking.
Sometimes they could be very vague, and especially Armani. Like, Zena will tell me a little more, but Armani will be like, good. And then so I have to, like, kind of take it out of him.
I had a substitute teacher.
And I'll just be like, okay, so what, anything new happened today? Like, you know, did anybody get in trouble in class? You know, like, did somebody do really good? Like, I have to, like, ask other questions, because if I say a question that's, like, too vague, he'll be vague too. He'll be like, good.
And it's interesting because you ask him different questions than I ask him. So we have different conversations.
Yeah. Basically, there may be things that we're missing, right? A lot of points that we're missing. But when it comes to parenting, there's no one size fits all.
I don't think there's ever a perfect parent. Like,
no.
Parents are always learning.
Yes.